Aurelio, you know, he is. I like to think that that he really grew up like watching Fantasy Island, and it truly is how I approach the character. If you hear how I sound as Morelio, it truly is my humble version of Ricardo Montalban. So I believe that, and it's perfect. As he grew up with that kind of like the charm and the pageantry of just being a host, a manager of a hotel situation, a resort, creating experiences for people. So I feel like that's where he kind of comes from, and taking pride in that. And so I think a lot of that comes from, you know, the, yes, of course. I want people to have the best experience. Reese is Kyla's father, which we're meeting for the first time, and Ron is actually meeting for the first time. And so that's why I really love about this second beat of the story is that Ron, we've established that he's friends with everybody and that everybody loves him, but he is the one, Reese now then becomes the one character that he has trouble with. So I think it's great to see Ron struggle, and, you know, having Steve Buscemi play Reese. I was like, who is gonna play it? Steve Buscemi? I'm gonna meet Steve Buscemi. So that was really dope. Marcus basically brings everybody to this Caribbean resort under the guise of a vacation, but really he's trying to get in with the Kim Wei group, and so essentially he's trying to woo them and to interview with them so he can hopefully bring that back to Chicago so that his construction company can like level up. So it's all happening at the same time, and obviously, you know, Ron and Kyla are gonna give him a run for the money regardless. And then Reese shows up and throws an even bigger wrench. And I'm just there to help. I'm just there to help you guys. Morelio's just there to help. This is a fun like follow up to the first one. And I'm not just saying because I'm in more of it, but you know, the experience has been really joyful. And I feel like if a tiny portion of that bleeds through to the screen, I think everybody's gonna have a great time.
The last movie was always this hint of something could go really wrong, and that there would be sort of the threat was like embarrassment in front of everybody, or you know, some awkward situation. And so this time around, we wanted to do stuff where there were real stakes, and it was like actually being chased and running for your life, and having actual bullets shoot at them and get into actual trouble. And so there was, we just decided we wanted to do a little bit more of an action comedy, but in a small, contained kind of way. And it was just really fun to have action that was grounded, and that's the kind of trouble you would get into on vacation, and not some super crazy, huge kind of trouble, but the kind of trouble that someone like Reese would get you in exactly. Marcus is played by Lil Rel Howery, who is amazing. And it was so fun to do another movie with the same character, because not only did I get to write a little more to, I think, what his strengths are, but just to see him like make it his own yet again. And he is such a funny actor when he is flustered and uptight and on his back heels and yelling at people and losing his cool. John Cena plays Ron, and you know, he's this big puppy dog of a guy, but he's huge. He's like this giant person, and John just plays this intensity so well with that character. Like he's just super into things, or he could be like really like mystical in the way that he approaches life and things. And he has this great backstory where he was a special forces guy. And so he's obviously super capable, but he's also this out of control partier at the same time. And all of that, John Cena just has this remarkable ability to just bounce back and forth between those different energies. Ronnie Chang plays Jan, who's an executive at this Korean hotel group, and that's who Marcus is trying to get this job from. And as I said, I think Ronnie is the worst person you would want to get a job from, because he would torture you, which is basically what he does.
Ron Fisher is what you least expect. He is a Green Beret and a decorated one at that. He's a park ranger. He's a free spirit. I think he is committed lifelong to someone who challenges him and forces him to kind of live in his values, yet doesn't keep him in a cage. I think he also longs for love in his life and deep connection. And I think every day he's just figuring it out. I think it sounds so cliche, but he takes life one day at a time. Like, how am I doing today? And if I'm not doing good, how can I get to at least baseline? And then from baseline, how do we get good? And then don't threaten me with a good time, because it's gonna be great. Murillo is our hotel attendant from the original Vacation Friends, Carlos Santos, who is extremely gifted. And I just said, you can't just be gifted and nothing comes natural. He's extremely talented and he works extremely hard. And this is how much of an impact he makes on people. He was a bit character in Vacation Friends and won everybody's heart and is like a main character in our movie now, the sequel, and kills it. You give that guy one sentence and he's the one on set that has everyone laughing. We shot it at Turtle Bay, and man, you just can't have a bad day at work here, because if it's long, you just look out and it's beautiful. And those were long days in the water, which are long days in the water, but it was just so beautiful. Like, it was so, you could see sea turtles and waves breaking miles out and then breaking again, and then breaking again. It's a landscape I'll never forget. And that has nothing to do with the words on the page or anything like that. That's time where they say cut, and they invite you to go back to the beach and go inland and sit on a chair like this and relax, and you're just like, no, I'll just stay in the water. And those are very rare. So it's those moments we got to spend on a beautiful beach in Turtle Bay with kind of nobody else around. It's pretty cool. Audiences loved the first one. Hulu immediately greenlit the second one. That's how much of a success it was on Hulu. So I just hope we do the franchise justice. I think we're really trying, and I think we got something funny and with a little more action in there to keep people at the edge of their seat, you know, and I really just hope people are entertained.
This was fun about playing Marcus this time around, because it's me trying to show Marcus trying to convince himself that he know how to just float when he really don't know how to. That's why he got to keep saying it. I'm just gonna float, you know. It's like, no, dude. And so I think that's what makes it even funnier, because I do look more calmer and the look, but then I just start losing my again. Reese, played by Steve Buscemi, is first of all, Steve is one of the funniest actors. Like, it's so weird too, because it's like, you tell somebody like, dude, I'm a huge fan, but you don't know if they believe you. Like, no. It's like stuff you've done in movies, I've implemented into my style. You know what I'm saying? I told him that, but I don't think he believed me, but it's honestly not true. Because he's like, his range is, I mean, we saw him in the silliest movies in the beginning of his career, like the silliest stuff. He played these crazy characters, almost in every Adam Sandler anything. And then you see Boardwalk Empire, you're like, oh, his range. You know, he's brilliant. Clay's a dynamic director. I think Vacation Friends was his directorial debut, actually, Feature Space. And so, man, I think he's one of the best comedy directors and writers in this business. I want people to watch this film and have a lot of fun with it. It's so funny, it's so adventurous, and I like the fact you're not gonna know what this movie is. You're gonna think it literally is nothing like the first one. I mean, some of the, our character things, but not really. Everybody's coming with different energy. It's bigger. I think it's funnier.
Clay is such a great writer. He's really, like we were laughing the other day, that he's been living and breathing Vacation Friends 1 and or 2 for several years now, and he is such a great writer who really writes to people's strengths. So I think he kind of knew which direction he wanted to go in. And also the comedy changes in this. It's much more of like an action comedy, which is very different from the first movie, but it feels like we all know exactly where, it's the benefit of a sequel. It's like we've done it, we know these people. It's actually much easier in a sense because it's already so in you, whereas the first time you're figuring it out as you go. Lil Rel Howery plays Marcus, and he is one of a kind, brilliant. Like his form of comedy and the way he works is so on another level gifted that you're just kind of like, oh, I'm watching someone that's going to continue to be one of like the people we see for a long time. Obviously, he's doing so well. That's why he reads a scene, and then his improvisational skill level is, because I did improv, and watching his sort of level of being able to play and rewrite and have everything be so effortless and organic, it's like I have not seen anyone do that at that level probably ever on set. Yvonne Orji is so sweet. She plays Emily. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person and such a gifted comedian. I think she gets even more of an opportunity in this movie to show what she can do, which is truly incredible. She's so smart. She's so funny. Carlos, who plays Murillo, is so funny. He's such a precise comedic actor. He takes sometimes the smallest moments and makes balls to the wall, strong choices that are so deeply funny. And he's so professional and so prepared, and I think he's gonna like be the star of everything in 2 years.
My character, Reese, is, like I said, he's just not giving in to Ron at all, you know. He just doesn't want to acknowledge that there's somebody in Kyla's life that, you know, is better than him, you know. And so he sort of uses every opportunity to ignore him or to put him down. And I think it grates on Ron, because he just, you know, as we know from the earlier film, Ron is just, you know, everybody loves him. You know, he's just a sort of freewheeling, happy-go-lucky type of guy, and yeah, I think he would probably want nothing more than to bond with his wife's dad. You know, and I'm just not giving him any chance at that. I always like working with directors because it's great to have the writer there on set, and you know, he's not precious about the writing, and what I've found that there's a lot of improvising going on, which is wonderful. You know, we always get the words that are written, but Clay is really open to ideas, and he encourages us to, you know, if we want to do it a different way. And yeah, he's just very laid back and focused at the same time. So I think that's a really good quality in a director. I've never shot a film in Hawaii before, and I'm just loving it. Being here, it's, you know, it's one of the most beautiful places I've been to, and the weather, the water, yeah, and the atmosphere and the people. You know, I think the people here are what really make it special. One of the key reasons I wanted to do the film was this cast. You know, they're just all so wonderful. I think they all had such great chemistry in the first film. So to come in and be the outsider coming into that, it's rare, you know, to come into something that you know. You know, I think I've only had that experience once before when I worked on The Sopranos, you know, watching the show first and then seeing these characters and then stepping into it. It's just so surreal. It's just, and this is similar, you know, it was my first day. I mean, it was a little intimidating because they're all so used to each other, and they all improvise so well that it just took me a while to sort of get up to speed. But they're all so welcoming and encouraging and supportive, and so talented. I mean, every one of them, you know, that it's just been a lot of fun.
the film picks up a couple months to a year or so after Vacation Friends, because Kyla and Ron still need their honeymoon. You know, as you know, they got married at the end of the first movie. And so Marcus has this bright idea. He is ready to close, or looking to pitch himself for this really big deal with a new construction company. It'll be amazing for his business. And so they bring him to the Caribbean for a week. So he's like, we can kill two birds with one stone. Let me bring these zany friends of mine to the Caribbean, all expense paid trips, because he's still kind of a cheapskate. All expense paid trip to the Caribbean, and then when they leave, I can focus on doing what I have to do. Of course, it's the movie, so things never go according to plan, and chaos and madness ensues. What I love about this movie, though, it's like Vacation Friends. While the first movie was kind of like a zany comedy, this is like an action comedy. There's some real stakes in this one. We have action in the sequel, baby, okay? We have car chase, we got it. Gunshots, we got it. Flights and helicopter taking off, we got it, okay? So we have bad guys, we have good guys, we have chases, we have ocean drops. There's a lot of stuff. I think the takeaway is they got to spend an hour plus just enjoying the zany antics of folks and laughing. It's been a long 2.5 years. We need comedy. And we also need heart, heart and humor. I think that's what Vacation Friends brings. So Clay Tarver is director and writer of the first and second movie. And everyone, I think, in the second iteration has just evolved in so many ways, like in their careers, in the projects that they take on. And I think Clay has, this is his second time directing. The first movie was his debut. I think he's just sat into it a lot, so much more. He is confident in what he wants. He's confident, with us and how to give us direction. So it's just been great. It's been great